When you're working in Particular, there will be times when you want to create different kinds of particles. In this video, we'll talk about the main different kinds of particles and why you might want to choose each. Now, if we look in our project, you'll notice I've already added particles into the scene. To show you what this looks like, I'm going to go ahead and select Layer 1 and go to my Effect Controls panel and open the designer. Here I have a nice preview of the animation, and notice the emitter type is a box, and I actually have a direction set, so these are actually all shooting down. And if we click on the particle type, notice there's a drop down for the type of particles. Now, most of the time when I'm building my initial particle system, I'll use the sphere because it's very efficient, and as you can see, there's no playback issues here in the designer. If you click on this drop down, there are a number of other options, and let me break these down into groups, okay? If you're working with a camera that has depth of field, you won't want to use glow sphere or star. But if you're not, they actually help create a more whimsical looking series of particles. So you might like the glow sphere or the star. To see things more clearly, I'm going to go to size and rotation here in the particle section, and I'll click on that block and I'll change the size up to something like 20 so you can see the particles. Let's go back to the particle type here and change it to a cloudlet. Cloudlets allow you to simulate things like smoke. And to show you an example of that, I'll go over here to my presets, just hover over that area here, and I'll scroll down into the smoke area. And you notice these smoke areas are created with cloudlets. Now, I'll click on this. You can also create streaklets, which may not look interesting right now, but this isn't the right kind of particle animation for streaklets. Again, if we go to the presets and I scroll up in the area out of the smoke and fire section and actually go into the light and magic section, here you notice I have light streaks orange, light streaks blue. These are particle systems that are using the streaklet, and they're animated in a way to actually create streaks. We'll do this a little later in the course. If we click on this drop down, the next two things I want you to focus on are the sprites and the textured polygons, because they both function in a very similar fashion. So let me go ahead and choose sprite here. And after I've done that, notice it's black because I need to go ahead and click the choose sprite button. Once I've done that, I have a series of sprites here. I want you to go ahead and just choose 2D shapes. Sprites can be still images or animations. In this instance, I want to use still image, and I'll choose this chevron basic right here. So I'll click on that once, and I'll click OK. Now I have a bunch of chevrons animating into the scene. Now, if I had a video, I could go here under time sampling and click on that, and I could choose different ways to actually play back the video clip itself. Since this is a still, I'll actually say current frame freeze because it's just a still, it doesn't necessarily matter. Now, I'll go ahead and click apply, and you'll see the chevrons populate my scene. If we open up the particle options here, I want you to note, here I'll collapse my opacity over life, and just look in the particle section here, okay? I can choose the duration of the life of the particle, which is how long it's going to appear here before it disappears. But I can also choose rotation. And you see rotation here under texture. And when I open that, I want you to note X and Y are grayed out. Same with the speed. The reason they're grayed out is sprites will always auto-orient to camera. So if you want them to rotate on the Z-axis, that works perfectly well. If I go ahead and set that, notice now they're all rotating on the Z-axis. But I can't rotate them on X and Y. So let me go ahead and change that back to 0 here, and I'll go back up and change my particle type from sprite to textured polygon. Now when you choose textured polygon, you can choose another sprite, or you could leave the one that we had already chosen here. And now notice I can rotate on the Y. So if I go ahead and do that, now notice they're all rotating on that Y axis. Of course, I could adjust the randomness of the actual rotation by adjusting the speed rotation, and that will make it more or less random for all of them, and it's just rotating all over the place. You get the general idea. When you deal with polygons, they don't have to auto-orient to the camera. Whereas sprites, when you choose a sprite, it's always going to auto-orient to the camera. Now, these other options here, like sprite fill, what this does, or textured polygon fill will actually fill the alpha channel of the color with whatever color you choose when you go down here to set color. So I'll click on this drop down and tell it to choose random from a gradient, and now all those colors from the gradient will populate across all of the different particles using the alpha channel. So this is a very strong way to colorize the images. If you didn't have a white particle, or you had a particle that had other colors, rather than choosing the sprite fill option, you might want to choose colorize, which just kind of adds a soft color over top of the already existing color. So when it comes to actually choosing your particles, choosing the particle type is only one step in the equation. You need to pay attention to whether or not you're using depth of field with your camera, as to whether or not you use those different other particles, and decide whether you want the particles to orient to the camera or not when you're trying to choose between a sprite or a textured polygon.